The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is Wednesday in the Riv. It's another day in paradise here.
Another day and another couple of shootings, huh?
Another couple shootings. Yeah, actually, it was a shooting. The shooting while we were doing a show yesterday.
Yes,
right?
there was.
Yeah. So we were. There was a shooting, and we had a guest who got informed, the city councilor. So. You know, Fall River continues to chug along its merry way, you know, and then
chugga, choo choo.
You know, I was looking at something, and we saw that meeting, the ARPA meeting, and apparently Joe Good was counting fingers, not people. She said 75 people. I don't think there were 75 people there, but I mean, if you're counting the people who were there because they were representing the city and stuff, I'm talking about actual citizens, and there are a lot of self-interest groups, and you know, I don't blame self-interest groups for advocating for themselves, because that's the way that's what they have to do. But you didn't see a lot of general citizens and go in there, because I think they realized this is futile, because even if you looked at the meeting, they talked about most of these people were ineligible. So what was the government response to that? We'll figure out a way to manipulate the law so we can give you money that technically you don't deserve. Like the federal government. Now infrastructure means diapers and baby bottles and anything they want. So infrastructure is just a generic term that means we get to give the money to anybody we want to give it to.
Wait a minute, you sound like Ken Fiola.
Exactly.
Isn't that what Ken Fiola said at the first meeting?
Yes.
According to reports from Chris Peckham?
But he denied it.
He denied it.
Then again, it was reaffirmed at that last opera meeting, because they said, you know, you're not eligible for it, but we're going to try to put it under the umbrella of social services or whatever. But the bottom line is that's what they do. And it goes from the top down. We see the federal government doing the same thing with all these programs and big giant bills they pass through. So the infrastructure bill, we're going to fix your roads, and virtually it's for everything else but roads. The last bill, the COVID bill, what did they have? 9% of the trillions of dollars that went to COVID. So yeah. the other 91% was political trough money, pork barrel money. And this is the problem with government. You know, this is the problem with government. That meeting was like a poster child for why we have to replace the government on a regular basis, because they don't care. They never spend any money on our behalf. It's always friends.
I hope the voters see this. You know, I really do hope the voters see this. I mean, we're looking at things like Paul turning around on Stafford Road saying, look, I'm paving the streets. Election year stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then right after he paves the street wasn't even down a week. It wasn't even down 3 days, and they already started cutting it up. What good was it to pave the street? And now their excuse is, oh, well, that's just the primer layer. We're still going to put a layer over top. The problem is the layer over the top is going to be over a defect under the bottom, which means the defect is going to go through. I don't care what they say. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's election policy. We're going to give money to people who got evicted, probably for cause.
And you're not going to be eligible for it.
And they're not going to be eligible for it
because there's no court order yet.
We're going to get a plan to revitalize the Flint. So what's your plan? His plan is to hire somebody to make a plan. So his plan is to pay somebody to make a plan. But he doesn't even consult with a guy that's been working his butt off for years for the Flint, the neighborhood president, Carlos Caesar. He's fundamentally ignored him through his entire tenure as mayor and done everything without ever going to the neighborhood. But it's an election year. We're going to take credit for everything. Well, take credit for the good. Everything that's good, we did. And look, I've always been upset with this crap that politicians do. It's like every mayor getting, every mayor that takes credit every time they deliver fire apparatus. Well, guess what? You didn't get that. The federal government gave you the money for that. And it's not, you didn't buy it. And you know what the proof is that they had nothing to do with it? They can't put those trucks in the Highlands. Because federally, those trucks have to go to low-income areas.
That's right.
So they have to play Chinese checkers with the trucks when they get new trucks. They get the newest old ones and move those. But they have to go to designated areas, but yet they'll stand here. Look, I just got a whole new fleet of fire trucks. I just got a whole new fleet of something else. They take credit for everything. And if they're opening up an envelope, they'll be there during campaign season.
Hey, that was the Jason Carrera administration.
That's the problem. That's right. If you open up an envelope, they'll be there talking. And this is the irony of it. And that's why let's hope we got an election coming up, people. Vote the people in that are paying attention to what you want and trying to save your tax dollars, and boot out everybody that's just spending money, as you said, like a drunken sailor, with the difference that the drunken sailor spends his own money, but they're spending ours.
You're right. And the sad part about it is it just doesn't go away.
No.
It just doesn't go away. And the people are bamboozled because all of a sudden, I saw it again yesterday, I believe, Dueling Apartments. They had a cookout. And of course, this time it was Alan Sylvia who was there. I didn't see the mayor, but the mayor's taking credit at every other cookout at senior complexes that there's been, or a housing authority complex. So, but Alan was there at this one. And I'm not saying they shouldn't be there, but don't take credit for something you're not doing. Joey DeSilva, that's the housing authority that's doing that. Joey DeSilva works for the housing authority. And he's not supposed to be on the park board because he's not a special municipal employee. But who cares about the law? But we see that there. Now, today at Poulis Park, or whatever the name of the park is, on Etna Street, next to, is that Maple Gardens? Mm-hmm. There's another music in the park. And the mayor takes credit for all of those. Because it's an election year. But don't be bamboozled and think that all these nice things are making the city a better place to live. It's not. Because if it was making the city a better place to live, there wouldn't have been a shooting yesterday. Okay? There wouldn't be gang members around. Okay? And I'm not going to say I live in a Pollyanna world where I think that everything goes away just because we're doing something right. But let's be realistic. Okay? If you can get it under control, or get some of it under control, you'll have a better city and a better life. And that's the difficulty that we have here. I mean, we have a police chief that is really working hard and looking at different projects and programs that he could utilize. I mean, I saw pictures of his teenager police cadets group. They were working hard. And I think that's a great program to reach out to city youth. But what youth are you reaching out to? Are you reaching out to the group that need it the most? Or are you reaching out to the kids that are in good schools, well-educated, two-family households, good income, because those are the kids that always want to do something. They're usually the civic-minded ones. But the kids that are, poor and, as I like to say, the poor and undeserving, because that's what they're classified as by the people in power. The
great unwashed.
Yeah, the great unwashed masses. Those those are the people that need it. So let's develop programs that meet their needs.
Yeah. Oh.
And those are the things. Those type of programs will make Fall River a better place.
No, you're right. And I have a theory why this happens, and I've been doing a little research into it. The problem is that for the better part of this entire city's history, this city has been run by rich people, lawyers, or politicians. And they have a different perspective. Rich people, look at Bezos. Bezos shoots his butt up into space with his other rich pals. And then he gets the newspapers and media outlets that he owns to fawn all over him when he comes down. I mean, to me, that's rubbing the nose into people who have to pee in cans in Amazon and can't go and take a bathroom break. He's one of the most restrictive and hostile work environments in the world. And this guy is indulging all his fantasies, and that's fine. But let's not greet him like a conquering hero, and then he gives $100 million to a CNN reporter to fawn all over him. And now they're comparing him to the moonwalk. They were up there for about 2 minutes. This is just the indulgence of rich people. So what do we have in Fall River? Well, let me start. The first 3 mayors of Fall River: James Buffington, Edward Buffington, Nathaniel Borden. Does that sound familiar? Buffington, Borden, the richest people in Fall River. Okay, now let's get down to the current area. Let's go. We're going to start with Carlton Viveris in 1978. The last 41 years. Carlton Viveris, career politician, state rep, came down. Now, I'm not going to do the acting mayors because they don't count. John Mitchell, lawyer. Eddie Lambert, career politician. Right? Robert Correa, state rep, 30 years. William Flanagan, lawyer. Sam Sutter, lawyer. The last one, the only one that doesn't fit in that category, Jazel Correa, who many people are now looking at one of the most effective mayors, except for the fact that he engaged in criminal activity. But actually, they felt that his leadership and the direction and his visions were out of the box. But you look at the last 40, you look at all the previous mayors from 1978. They were all either career politicians or lawyers. So, I mean, do they have a different perspective? You're damn right they don't. They're not living in a 3-decker in Corky Row. They're not going out on the streets at night ducking bullets. I can bet you not one of those mayors lived in a 3-decker.
Actually, one did.
Carlton.
No, besides Carlton. That makes 2 then. Will Flanagan. Will Flanagan did not come from...
Yeah, but he was a lawyer. But I mean, okay, so you look at Carlton. Carlton actually lived in a multiple family. It wasn't a 3-decker, but I believe he had a 2-family on Sprague Street. He still lives there. He put a big extension on the back, but he had family living in it. So right. that really doesn't count. But I mean, you think they've got a different perspective than we do. Just look at what Jeff Bezos did. And then he says, the best day ever. I showed off all my money to the entire world, and they kissed my ass for it.
That's it.
While my workers are peeing in cans in the fulfillment centers because they can't take a bathroom break or they're going to be fired. So people, you've got clear choices sometimes. You look at people who on a city council are trying to fight for the taxpayer, and you have the crew that says, I'm no mayor now has been a city employee for his whole life. So they come from a department that just continues to get money. It's actually statutorily mandated that you have to give them money.
Right.
Whether you like it or not. No matter how much they waste, they gave them autonomy. So this is the kind of thing. You know, I mean, Whitty ran for mayor a few times, and he was a state employee. So you've got clear choices. You know, when somebody gets in front of the city council, as they did a few years ago, and has CFOs and employees who say, like Kenny Fiola, like Mary Sahadi, who said, it is your obligation to get a tax increase every year and get a fee increase every year, because that's just the way it is. You have to do this to pay. Well, guess what? I don't mind paying. But if I'm going to pay, I want my money going to the police department, the fire department, and services that benefit me as a taxpayer, not for your pay raises and your automatic cost of living raises and all the jobs you give to all your friends. And the people you're paying over 80 grand to monitor social media, who's probably watching us right now.
Hi.
So, you know, therein lies the problem with politics. And look at the federal government. I just saw a thing this morning about Swalwell and going out to Qatar and riding on a camel with no shirt on. The guy that slept with a Chinese spy is on the Intelligence Committee. And he went to Qatar, and then a question was asked, and I think it was a very valid question. When he went to Qatar, riding on a camel, did he take time to ask the government officials in Qatar that paid for his trip down there, looking for United States taxpayer money? Did they ask that they're building a soccer stadium with slave labor? That in Qatar it is legal to beat your wife? Did he ask those questions? No, because he was partying hardy. And that's what they do. They get in government and they get rich and they don't care. They don't care. Like the people who want to defund the police and spend $70,000 in 3 months for private security. No, of course they don't need police. They got their own damn police department following them around. But the hell with you and the people in Chicago getting, you know, Chicago's like a shooting gallery every day. And so is New York City. They're throwing hot liquids on old people. There was a video of some young punk smashing the face of an 83-year-old man on a bus. And but defund the police because you don't need them. So once they get up there, they get rich, and they're even more out of touch than they were when they got there. So, you know what? Remember what Mark Twain said. Politicians are like diapers. They should be changed often, and for the same reason. They're full of shit.
Language.
I was referring to the diaper. I was just giving the status of a dirty diaper.
No, that's what I'm talking about.
The context. Yeah.
No, it's just very interesting that we, even at local politics, our politicians are getting rich. Look at Eddie Lambert.
Yeah.
Okay. He was a state rep making what, $50,000, $60,000 a year.
At the time, yeah.
Then he was a mayor making $100,000 a year. Then he became a chancellor or whatever of UMass system, and he's making $300,000 a year. The more in politics you are, the more money you make, baby. And that's the main reason why a lot of people get into politics, to see how much they can pocket before and after their term.
Yeah, you're right. They get that network, and they network their jobs after that. You know, being a state rep or a mayor is normally a springboard to making sure that even after you retire and you're getting a really good pension, that you're going to get other jobs. We remember what happened with Joan Bernard.
Yeah.
She got hired at Bristol Community College as something on some board for $120,000 a year that she had to show up maybe 4 times a year. And she stayed there until she got tired of it. Then her daughter got the job, and then she's rehired as a consultant. Right. So the trough, they never get to the bottom of the political trough. Once they've been in for a while, they make so many contacts that the rest of their life is a quid pro quo. You give me something because I gave you something when I was in office. And that's what's wrong with the system. That's what's wrong with the system.
It disgusts me sometimes to see how this works. And it makes me feel as though there's nothing we can do as citizens to stop it. But there is. There's a lot we can do as citizens to stop it. We just got to go to the polls and vote. And vote out these people.
Yeah, the irony of that, CJ, is I don't know what our population is right now. It was somewhere around 88,000 or something like that. But let's look at that. 88,000 people in this city. How many rich people do we have? I don't know, 20,000 even. That's a big stretch, but let's say we got 20,000 people who are loaded. Because most of the rich people don't live in this city.
That's right. They live in Somerset.
That's exactly, So let's look at it. But let's make an absurdly high number. 20,000 people.
That is high.
And that's very high.
Yes.
And I'll say it. That is exaggeration for effect, Paul, in case you want to call me on the number, because we're going to count the rich people. But we can do that. But let's make an absurdly high number. The point is that leaves 68,000 people that aren't rich. Last time I checked, if the 68,000 people voted, even if the 20,000 people always vote for people who are going to take care of them, they're never going to get, the regular people are going to get taken care of. Why? Because they voted. You're right. People keep saying there's nothing we can do. That's just the way it is. Well, it's that way because you won't get your lazy butts up, organize, and get to the polls. Because there's more of us than there are of them. But the problem is, even though we comprise the majority, we let the minority tell us what to do. Convince us not to vote. Throw in a towel, say it's pointless. But right. It isn't.
Right. But, and when we look at things, okay, and I'm going to take us back to the ARPA meeting, okay, because this, I think, is very important. We had all these arts groups coming forward. Oh, if you invest in the arts, for every dollar, you get $9 back. Okay, that may be true, because that seems to be the number that everyone in the state uses. But where does it come back in Fall River? Oh, well, it's local restaurants and local businesses. And I don't see that happening. Number one, the reason why Fall River doesn't have a big nightlife is because nobody wants to open a nightclub. Okay? There's too many liabilities, and nobody in Fall River wants to come. Plus, they don't want the headaches. They're afraid there's going to be crime all over the place. And you have to agree. There's a high probability of it, especially when you're catering to this group of people. It's not like the days when we had the Camelot Inn and, Alhambras. And I mean, I'm really going back in time here.
Wow, you are. Wow. Yeah, damn. Yeah, you're right, though. But look, let's face it. That's total BS. The $9 comes back and funnels back to them in some form or another. Restaurants don't get it. Look at the great feast of the Holy Ghost. You got thousands of people getting bussed down. You think they go to local restaurants for the most part to eat? No, they got food trucks there. They, even the restaurants within walking distance don't do that much better.
As a matter of fact, a couple of them close.
Yeah, a couple of them close. Yeah, because it's a waste of time. And the reality is that this is all. Look, we don't have a population right now that's arts oriented. You can have all the art shows and stuff you want. You may get some people there, but they're coming in from out of town, and they're not going to stick around here. They're going to go. They're gonna go back to wherever they came from, the Cape or whatever, and they're gonna eat on the way home at somewhere that they know. And this is the problem with Fall River. Listen. They keep trying to think that tourism is going to float this boat. It's not, because this city cannot survive. It's not Newport, Rhode Island with its mansions. It's not Cape Cod with its the perception of old Cape Cod. They didn't make songs about Fall River, except Lizzie Borden had an axe, gave her mother 40 whacks. So the reality is nobody is, you're not going to make this city. It's not Miami, South Beach, where they're bringing in hundreds of millions of dollars. Okay, well, you can have a little bit of tourism. Thing that made Fall River float at one time, it wasn't Newton, but everybody had a job. They were in the mills, and the mills left, and this city's never recovered because we don't have people who have jobs. The thing that's going to cure Fall River is creating an environment where we can teach people, give them employable skills, make agreements with companies to employ people, get people with a paycheck and the money, and then the local restaurants and businesses will thrive. It's not a mistake that Newton is almost the same size as Fall River. I think the last stat I looked at, they were 86,000. We were 88. And they have 10,000 more businesses than we do. 10,000 more businesses than we do. And that's federal statistics. I may be off again because it's been a year or two since I looked at those stats. But they have a tremendous amount of businesses everywhere. Why? Well, guess what? The average household income in Fall River is $34,000. The average household income in Newton's $165,000. People have money. And when people have money, they don't drive to the Cape. They'll go to the local restaurant for dinner. They'll go out to eat more often. And they're not going to go to McDonald's.
That's right.
They got money in their pocket. Not, people go, oh, yeah, you're anti-McDonald's. No, I'm not anti-McDonald's. But if you got enough money to go out and have a nice dinner once or twice a week, you will. Because people, say, oh, I don't feel like cooking. So I think I'll go down to the local restaurant, and that's what happens when you go to Newton. That's why they have 10,000 more businesses. It's not about tourism. Newton has no tourism because Newton is just a bedroom community for all the people with high-paying jobs in Boston. And the thing is, this is what a city like Fall River has to do: put people to work and give them money to spend, not just give all the government officials money.
And then Fall River will be a better place.
Mm-hmm.
I have to do something before we close. Monday's opera meeting. The mayor opened it and the mayor left. All those people showed up to talk to the mayor and those people. And the mayor couldn't give them the time of day. All right. Then he went to the school committee meeting where he abdicated his responsibility and he abdicated his job under the charter because he didn't run the meeting. He let Mark Costa continue to run the meeting. So he did absolutely nothing there. But he had to be there because he had to go into executive session for the contract. But he did nothing. So why do we have this mayor if he's going to do absolutely nothing for the people? Because that's exactly what it seems like. He's doing absolutely nothing for the people. And we want him to be working for us. And when we go to speak to him, we want him to be there to listen. Now, here's the problem. The mayor didn't find you, the people, important enough to schedule either that opera meeting or that school committee meeting on another day. So you, the people, are worthless to the mayor and to the administration because you did not come first. Yeah, you should have been. You better understand. I don't have to be there because I'm the mayor and I can do what I want.
They're finger waggers. That's right.
It. Well, everybody, we're coming up right now to the end of our show. Chip, you got a real last quick section to add to that comment.
Yeah, pay attention to what happened in the meeting and get the vote. Get out the vote.
Definitely get out there and vote, people. We need you to go out and vote and pay attention to the candidates. They're all out there. They're all getting signatures. Ask them some serious questions. Thank you for watching. Remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. It's always great to be in your home. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.